Hey guys, this is Thogard over on the PCNA server, and I wanted to make a video. There have been a lot of PvP guides out that will focus a lot on, how to play and what to do, and especially with animation canceling. But it seems like with a lot of those guides, there's one thing missing, and that's what's happening behind the keyboard. And so what I wanted to do with this video is just give you guys a glimpse into how I have everything set up with my station. So this should give you a little bit of insight into how my hands are when I'm trying to animation cancel, how my layout is for efficiency. You don't have to use my exact layout. It might not be the most efficient, but I've found it's actually very efficient, and it's something that I think is very easy to use for a lot of people, and it doesn't take a lot of time to get used to. So in order to give you guys a little bit of visibility to what it is that I'm doing, I wanted to bring out my trusty Sony GoPro. It's not technically a GoPro, but I use it for my snowboard and mountain bike videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record, and you can see a little bit behind the keyboard. Please keep in mind that I do spend a lot of time gaming, and so my desk is extremely messy. Don't judge me. Let's see, is this on? Almost. It is on. Okay, so let's see how this is going to be fun to try to sync up later. So this right here is my gaming mouse, and you might notice first and foremost that this mouse has buttons on the side, and that is absolutely crucial for moving around. My keyboard is a pretty standard keyboard. The keyboard, nothing fancy. I don't have any like macro buttons on the side. I use the WASD just like everyone else. Thumb on the shift button. Thumb on the space bar. Pinky is here on caps lock, which is actually my bar swap button. And between that and the mouse, I'm able to do quite a lot of stuff. So let me show you a little bit about animation canceling from the perspective of my hand that's actually doing the animation canceling. This is my stamina warden. I'm inside of Keenan's house right now. I hope he doesn't know. So whenever you're trying to animation cancel, what you're really doing is you're doing a light attack, which I'm using as my left click button, obviously. Then you use an ability, let's say running slashes in this case, which is my 1, so I'm going to hit 1 with my thumb. And then you want to block, which is this. So if you try to do it with your both hands together, it can get a little bit clunky. It's hard to time. Like, I found it's just a lot easier to have your thumb here, and it's just and it's pretty straightforward. It's just like that. That's animation canceling, and now you've seen it from that angle. One of the nice things about having a gaming mouse like this is that you can really bind all 5 of the major skill set buttons. I use 4, 1, 2, 6, and 7, and if you look on my computer screen, you'll actually see 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and those are the num keys. I actually have it bound to these buttons right here. And the reason why is I actually like to use these buttons for swapping out my potions. If I hit 2, for instance, that'll bring up a stamina pot. 4 or 3 is a speed lingering health pot, and 4 is my forward cam for when my teammates are dying. So binding these buttons to the numpad actually opens up these for things that I don't really need to hit that often. But most importantly, having your abilities on the mouse allows you to pretty much have full-time WASD. So when you're circle strafing around, trying to use abilities, if you have to, like, let's say, hit the 5 button, you have to pull your main finger off of the D, so you might not be able to hit someone who's circling around you, or if you need to like move to the right to hit them, you might not be able to because your finger will be up there. But having your abilities over here allows you to constantly be moving. You really never have to stop. there's not any method to my madness. I'm just going through and just hitting random buttons just to show you. So the 6 and the 7 took me about like 3 hours to get used to. I hit with the back of my thumb, this part of my thumb. I don't use 3 or 5 just because those are kind of hard to get to. I have to take my hand too far off. Sometimes I'll have 3 as like if I'm playing my sword, I'll have 3 as like the pet passive button, but I haven't played that character in over a year. So you guys kind of get a sense of how that works now. Adding those light attacks in there gives you a lot of extra damage. I'm block canceling everything, and I'm trying to stay inside of the global cooldown. Now you might notice me bar swapping, and you always want to bar swap right after you do your block. You want to block cancel then bar swap, because after you bar swap you need to wait like a quarter to half of a second before you do your next light attack or ability. My bar swap button is caps lock. And it's an interesting bar swap button because it means half the time if I'm like coming out of a fight and I start flying into someone, it's gonna look like I'm yelling at them. But the fact is, like, the pinky is, you know, one of the buttons where you use it for sprinting, which is pretty crucial. But you can't really use abilities when you're sprinting. You also can't bar swap when you're sprinting. So having caps lock next to bar swap is, or having caps lock as bar swap next to sprint, it gives your pinky 2 things to do instead of 1, and it's something where you don't really have to take a finger. You're not losing a finger. You're not losing any space. The caps lock button really is just really good keyboard real estate. Speaking of keyboard real estate, one other thing that I've done is I've made my Alt button dodge roll. And that's something that I think is a huge change that a lot of people can do. Having to like double tap to do a dodge roll is just unreliable. Sometimes you accidentally do one, other times you're trying to do one and it just doesn't work. Having Alt, you just are like hitting a button and then you just Alt instead of jump. And your thumb's like right there. You can't jump and dodge roll at the same time. You can't dodge roll when you're in midair. So it's just a really efficient layout. You know, you use your thumb, which is a really reliable finger, and you're able to do that. You have to play around a little bit with your like inventory buttons. Like I have, I think Z is my closeout button for the inventory. Tilde is my draw weapons, get rid of weapons. Tab is still tab targeting. My ultimate's V. No particular reason why. That's one I should probably move. But that's the main thing on this side of the keyboard that I've done. 1, 2, 3, and 4 for changing like potions, different potions. Caps lock is bar swap. Shift is sprint for most people, and myself included. Spacebar is jump for most people, but I've also made the Alt button the dodge roll. And just again to reiterate, you need to be pushing a direction to dodge roll in that direction. If you're not pushing a direction, you'll dodge roll backwards. Sometimes, like every once in a while, even if you're pushing a direction, you'll dodge roll backwards, but if you have a mechanical keyboard, that takes a lot of inputs at the same time. That's a really rare occurrence. Over here, the one thing I've done in addition to having all my buttons over here on the thumb is I've made my middle mouse button to be my break free and bash button. And that's pretty easy to hit. You can see I'm kind of pushing down on the scroll button. Having to like hit both of them at the same time is just a real pain half the time. It's not super reliable. Sometimes you'll lose an attack just by trying to do that. You have to hold down block and heavy attack, and it's just, it doesn't always work. Yeah, you can't tell if you're lagging or if you just misclicked. Having it as one simple, straightforward button is something that has just saved my life in the game countless times, and I can't recommend it enough. I think it's a really strong way to play. So that is my keyboard layout. I hope this was a valuable kind of behind the keyboard look. Please don't judge me for how dirty my shit is. And I'm going to go take my menstrual leaf pills now because I've been ganked by so many Nightblades. And I wish all of you the best of luck. Thanks for watching.